Hi and welcome to Indigo Starfire. My name is Bevin, and in this video I'm going to be doing some love notes from your person. This is going to be a message cards only reading, and there are 3 groups to choose from. Group 1 is the Amazonite. Group 2 is the Bloodstone. And group 3 is the Fire Agate. So if you want to take a moment to center, focus on your breathing, and feel whichever group, maybe multiple groups or perhaps all of the groups that you're most drawn to. I'll give you a minute to make your selection and then we'll get right into it. And there are timestamps in the description box of the video for each group if you'd like to jump ahead. And up next is a close-up photo of the crystals to help you better make your selection. Hi, Group 1. You chose the Amazonite. So let's see, what does your person want you to know right now from their higher self? Okay, and they say, please don't cry or be sad because of me. So they may have some regrets about a last conversation or interaction that you have had with one another. For some of you, this could involve somebody who had rejected the cup of love that you had to offer and is now having second thoughts about that. They may have gotten a taste of their own medicine in some capacity as well. Maybe they just have gone through some rejection or essentially have cleared or healed something within them that is helping them to understand that they treated you very unfairly or could have handled the situation a lot better. And so with this is kind of the idea, it feels like, of dancing around the notion of, should I reach out? Should I try to make amends? Is it too little too late in this circumstance? Would I be rejected? Can we revisit this connection or revive what we once shared with one another? And they also say, I don't want to be rejected, so I stay silent. I feel safer not knowing the outcome. So confirmation right there that you are on their mind with the desire to make communication, to try and build a bridge between the two of you. It feels like after this person burned the bridge that once existed between the two of you. So regrets at this point in time. They may have heard some things about you. They've seen you on social media, or maybe even like dreams, downloads, things energetically that they have picked up on that maybe you've moved on with your life, you're healing, you've had some kind of a glow up, you're focusing on yourself and kind of less on the circumstance and what has happened. And it feels like that might have sort of re-sparked or an interest in you, or a desire to kind of create a resurgence in this situation. But based on whatever has happened in the past between the two of you, it's the idea of like, would I even be welcome into this person's life again? Have I missed my chance with them? Is the door of opportunity still open, or could I create some kind of new opportunity between us? So you might be picking up on your person's energy very heavily at this point in time, and it feels like that byproduct of kind of thoughts become things. So at this stage, it doesn't feel to be anything that is sort of your wishful thinking, your imagination kind of running wild, but it really is in real time kind of this quantum level transference of energy from them to you. So for some of you, this can result in kind of reaching out, making that contact, putting those feelers out there to see if you're open, if you're receptive, if you're available, if you're kind of interested in renewing the situation. Just based on these kind of introductory cards, definitely feels that a lot of you who are in a no contact, that this will be sort of the nature of what kind of resonates or this applies to. But this can also tie into somebody that you're in a current connection with, and maybe there was like a misunderstanding, something that might have kind of gotten lost in translation between the two of you that sort of led to some awkwardness or pulling back emotionally speaking. And so that can definitely pertain to wanting to kind of get back on track with you, explain themselves in some sort of manner. But it's the idea of, I don't know if it'll make matters worse to kind of touch on that touchy subject, or if it's best just kind of left alone and we try to kind of carry on from here, build in a different direction, and hopefully learn from that experience and maybe be a little more tender or delicate or mindful with one another. And they also say, I still love you. I'm sorry if I made you feel otherwise. So again, confirmation there. For those of you in like a no contact situation, the person on your mind is definitely in their feels at this point in time. They've had some kind of change of heart. They've seen the light, or even this could just, kind of be the byproduct of what they've sensed or seen or heard about you, or kind of picked up on, in terms of how you're handling the situation, how you've kind of processed what has taken place between the two of you. If you were, kind of a runner chaser energy, you were the chaser, you were sort of in a dark place as far as whatever has happened in the past. It feels like for a lot of you, you've turned a corner, you've redirected your focus, you've released, or you're in kind of a place of just allowing things to unfold as they will in the circumstance and situation. And it's made all the difference with this person. For those of you that might still be kind of lingering in a bit of obsessive energy, or you're finding it very difficult to kind of focus on self or move on in a certain capacity, these energies can be kind of a prelude or an indicator, a little nudge or a hint that to continue to apply yourself in the direction of allowing the situation to unfold as it will, pulling back your energy and really concentrating that on things that are going well in your life, things that you do have control over, that you can affect positive change in regards to. Personally for yourself, will allow this person the opportunity to almost have some energetic breathing room to where these kind of revelations can come forth for them. The sense of almost the pressure of being chased, even energetically speaking, once that is kind of removed from the circumstance, then it kind of allows a wider experience for them energetically, and often can lead to people kind of having that ability to sort of slow down, realize that they're, what are they kind of running from, and then go into that deep introspective mode, or to be able to kind of see and decipher things that maybe aren't so apparent when there's kind of that pressure to avoid or to recoil. And they also say, how do you need to be loved? How do you want to be loved? So for those of you where this would be a circumstance of someone reaching out, making amends, trying to respark or create a resurgence in the connection, they may be doing a little bit of research, kind of spying on you from afar, or asking people, mutual people that you know in common, kind of what's going on with you, to try and plan, it feels like something special, something significant, something meaningful that will pivot the two of you beyond kind of a repeating of patterns or cycles that you'd been stuck in before. So it again reflects kind of a degree of mindfulness that has taken place, emotionally speaking, where instead of it just being kind of all about them, they were triggered, their needs weren't being met, whatever that kind of looked like when it created some sort of distance between the two of you. It's almost the essence of valuing your presence in their life and kind of creatively thinking of ways to make an impact with you, as far as they're not just wanting to show back up and repeat the same cycles, but to really demonstrate some sort of growth, evolution, or progress within themselves, to where there's more of a sense of wanting to prioritize your emotional well-being, how you're feeling, kind of smoothing out the rough edges in this situation, or, depending on your circumstances, there may be the need for kind of a more elaborate or well thought out apology, something more than an I'm sorry may be necessary in this situation. And it feels like they're giving a lot of thought to that, kind of inventorying themselves. What changes have I made in the time since we were last together? What needs to be done in order to kind of prove that I have learned my lesson, or I've, taken to heart what has happened between the two of us. What do they need to kind of create within themselves, or bring forth to you emotionally, or in a tangible sort of way that demonstrates that if you were to allow them back in, they prioritize you in the situation, repairing things, kind of rebuilding trust in a way that they might have overlooked before, or hadn't really been a priority before. They also say karma is here to teach me a lesson. So this is kind of indicating some fear about reaching out, not really sure if it will just make matters worse, depending on the nature of what happened that might have pivoted you into a separation or a no contact period. There's a sense of almost like, how could you forgive me? Am I even worthy of a seat at your table now? If you've kind of changed, evolved, you had the glow up, you're refocused on other things, you've got abundance going on in your life in other areas. It almost feels to be something where they're kind of sitting in this energy of like, maybe this is just my punishment. This is just karma coming back around to me, where all of a sudden I see the light in this situation with this person, and the value and the meaning that they have to me that I overlooked before. And they have moved on, or they've kind of leveled up in a way that I don't really know what to bring to the table. I don't really know what I would have to offer. I don't know that my presence or my reemergence in their life would kind of make matters better. But there's almost a sense of them needing to kind of sit and observe you, kind of be on the outskirts of your life. Ironically, if they pushed you away or kind of ran from the situation, this is bringing to mind almost like a Five of Pentacles energy, feeling very stranded, being in that observer energy. The distance that they once thought was what they wanted is now making them feel very isolated, very left out of kind of the celebration of whatever it is that's going on in your life, maybe literally or even just energetically, something that they're picking up on, or that they've taken note of. And they also say, I am here, I'm right here. So for a lot of you, this is again like on the brink of trying to reach out, trying to think of something to say, trying to be more present with themselves, it feels like, in a way that allows them to really be very honest as far as their shortcomings in this situation, especially if they had kind of overlooked the value and nature of your connection previously, or what you had to offer. If this is like the cup of love itself was rejected the last time around, there's a sense of kind of, if they thought the grass would be greener on the other side, they're still kind of stuck in the same energy within themselves. They weren't able to find fulfillment elsewhere, or they picked the wrong path. They picked the wrong person. It was not in their best interest to refuse you, or to kind of choose to go off in their own way. And so this is the sense of almost the tides having shifted, and now all of a sudden here they are, kind of right on the brink of your threshold, kind of right outside the door, readying themselves to kind of present something, to see if it's too little too late, or if you're able to kind of let bygones be bygones, and sort of start fresh from where you both are. They also say, you've been in my dreams lately. So this is actually kind of bringing forth a specific message that may not apply for everyone, but certainly for some people. This person might have had a dream that you moved on, or you were like with somebody else, and it feels to be of the nature and impact that it kind of, they woke up in a panic almost, like, what have I done? What have I lost? What have I overlooked? What did I not see before? It might have been something just as simple as and complex as that was like a turning point for them, kind of created that aha moment that might have been very necessary for them to really sort of clear away any illusion or disbelief in sort of the connection itself, or the meaning and value of you in their life. There's a sense of whatever other dreams they were pursuing, or feeling that they could find somebody better, find that elsewhere. It's a sense of being let down as well, in terms of they're seeking out of fulfillment in other areas. Maybe that is, just kind of rejecting the idea of a relationship and wanting to be like a perpetual bachelor or bachelorette. This can involve, choosing a third party, or even kind of not being willing to sort of move on in the aftermath of some kind of heartbreak that they had been holding on to, and taking the invitation of like a fresh start in love and romance that could have been presented with you, by you, from the universe. And so there's a sense of starting to really it becomes very clear to them that you are that dream person, you're that ideal person. There was something that they overlooked or weren't willing to see about you before. Maybe it's something that has, evolved within you. You've grown into a different version of yourself. And so now they're able to see something that was almost hidden in plain sight before. They didn't believe in the potential of you or the potential of the connection to grow into something very beautiful, very stable, very fulfilling. And now at this point on their personal journey or whatever's going on in both your lives, they see your worth, they see your value in a way that was not available to them before. And so it kind of ties into this idea of like the karma being here to teach them a lesson, to kind of not take things at face value, to sort of follow the energy, follow their heart, follow their instinct versus sort of what things look like on the surface level. And this may be something that it's very much haunting them, kind of how they handled the situation, how they left the circumstances, how they treated you, how they might have rejected you. All of that might have been done in a very kind of self-centered manner. And it feels to be something that there's a lot of regrets about that, because they are now at the point in their life, or you're at the point in your life where some kind of combination of both of those things, to where it's like what they've been wanting or what they've been seeking, what they've been hoping to find, it existed within you all along. And yet here they are now kind of positioned on the outskirts of your life, and it becomes increasingly difficult to sort of reintroduce themselves. It feels like every day that goes by, it's kind of like a brand new day, and even more difficult to sort of speak those words, present that apology. The dream of kind of like a beautiful new start, or some kind of dream that you both had at one point in time in terms of the future between the two of you. It's almost like every day that goes by that they don't make matters right, that dream fades off into the horizon and becomes more nightmarish, in the sense of, again, they're kind of placed by your side, being filled by another person, or the sense of kind of missing out on sort of this opportunity of wish fulfillment because of whatever it was that sort of got in the way. Pride and ego, wounding from the past, third parties, whatever that looked like for your particular circumstance, that choice that they made previously has led them in the direction where they did not find fulfillment. And they're starting to see that you have always been that wish fulfillment that they truly needed within, but were not kind of willing to admit to before. And they also say, I wish that I could hold you in my arms. So again, kind of this desire for closeness, a desire to reforge the connection between the two of you. Maybe thinking back on intimate times that you shared. It's bringing to mind the idea of kind of, in that dream space, they're waking up and feeling your energy around them, as if you're in the bed right next to them, and it feels like something that they kind of are waking up with this sort of blissful energy that quickly kind of gives way to the sinking sense of that they're alone, or whoever they're partnered up with is kind of not that ideal person, but it's just something that they settled for. And so it's really the energy and the essence of not enjoying their circumstances, not enjoying how they have positioned themselves in this circumstance. But it feels like actively trying to kind of formulate a plan to see if there's still hope in this situation to repair the circumstance. And they also say, I genuinely care about you. So that can definitely be that confirmation for those of you where this is somebody who rejected the cup of love you had to offer, denied having feelings for you, or maybe just kind of was hot and cold, ghosted you, kind of cut things off very abruptly, that was not a true reflection of the way that they felt about you, that they still feel about you. It's the idea of like absence has only made the heart grow fonder, but then they're in this conundrum of like, what do I do about that? based on how I've handled the situation before and the reality of what exists within my heart for this person and how that has amplified over time, or like the distance hasn't served to mitigate that at all, what do I do now in order to kind of translate that feeling out into some kind of measurable action that creates the possibility of change in a very productive manner in this sense. So for some of you, you may be hearing from this person, in the relatively speaking near future. Definitely kind of watch the energy of watching from afar, trying to kind of gather information, or just very fixed on kind of the reality of what they missed out on, what they overlooked or undervalued previously in the form of you in the connection. So let's get some initials. This can be a first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or can spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got G, C, P, F, M, I, H, D, V, E, I, N, O, T, D, T, A, C, U, and F. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link to that in the description box of the video. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters, including a longer video version of this reading that involves more cards and more decks. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of those out as well. And I've launched a second channel here on YouTube, which is called Lady of the Dawn, where I do channeled message readings related to topics other than love and romance. So if that sounds like something you're interested in checking out, there's a link to that in the description box of the video as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 2. You chose the Bloodstone. So let's see, what does your person want you to know right now from their higher self? Okay, and they say, I never knew what love was until you showed me. So they're in their feels right now. Very romantic, very nostalgic if this is someone who's at a distance from you, or maybe even a long distance connection. Looking forward to and anticipating the next time they will see you, that they will be in contact with you. If this is someone you haven't met in person, they could be planning towards that, looking toward the future in that sense, wanting to create more inclusivity between the two of you. This is also very relevant to a connection where maybe you've kind of reached sort of a plateau with your person, not really sure kind of where things are headed in a long-term sense. Maybe you've had discussions with one another in terms of like, where is this thing headed? What are your long-term plans? What are we doing here in this situation? And this is something where they are in the process of that deep soul searching, of that introspection, and all signs, all energies within themselves, their heart, which it feels like they are actively listening to, is directing them to do whatever is necessary to instill confidence within you that they're in this for the long term. They're interested in taking things to the next level, or to providing more reassurances to you that they're here to stay, or any turbulence that you might be experiencing between each of you, or things happening personally in either or both of your lives that has kind of created friction within the connection, or even just an inability to kind of fully enjoy one another's company or be present with one another. There's a sense of not wanting to allow kind of those outside distractions to undermine or interfere with sort of the sanctuary, the shelter that they really fill with you, as kind of an escape from the responsibilities that the world has placed upon them, or other things that are kind of outside of their control at this point in time. There's the essence of feeling that you've really been there for them, even in kind of like a silent or stoic sense, and there's an urge or interest to kind of repay that kindness, or to do or say something, or to start to kind of build in the direction of moving beyond the foundation that you have laid with one another, to start to build into more of an intricate manner towards the nature of your understanding with one another, how the partnership is defined, or even kind of carving out some quality one-on-one time with one another, just to kind of soak up and saturate yourselves in the experience of one another and the energies exchanged between the two of you. And they also say you're everything that I could ever want or need. So yeah, this person is falling more deeply in love with you, or is wanting to, commit to you, recommit to you, take things to the next level. This is kind of the energy of even sort of exploring the idea of, this could be the one. This could be the one that I've been searching for, the one that kind of helps me come to terms with and come to peace with all other sort of romantic connections or entanglements that have left kind of a brokenness, or almost like a sour taste in their mouth, a pessimism, a hopelessness. It's like you've revived this individual. You brought them back to life in some profound kind of way, or even kind of the connection as it's been building very organically between the two of you. It's almost the sense of having cross some sort of threshold of doubt within themselves, where now they're more invested than they were before, or they're wanting to kind of show to you, or open those lines of discussion, do something, say something, plan something that kind of lets you know a deeper level of feeling than they have brought up to this point in time. This may be somebody who really struggles with kind of expressing their emotions, words and affirmations, declarations of love. That might not be their love language, and so but it could be yours. And so that might even be something where they're exploring that. How can I help my person, meaning you, the viewer, to feel very seen and cherished and recognized and valued for who you are? What your emotional needs are, what kind of will make you feel very exceptional in their eyes, so that any kind of sense of questioning sort of, where's the connection headed, how invested is this person, am I truly what it is that they are looking for, or is this a situation where it's largely unknown sort of what the future holds? They're moving into more of a place of decisiveness, that to commit to you, or to rebuild or solidify, or enhance the connection in some way. It's not only fitting what their higher self kind of needs and requires, but it's also emotionally and on a very conscious level, you are what they have been looking for. You are what they need, kind of in their life. And so it's the essence of, what do I need to do, or what should I start to do in order to feed more kind of romance, more of that high vibration into the exchange between the two of us. And they also say, don't leave me, please stay. So this can again be that sort of confirmation if you've had any kind of discussions, any heart-to-heart conversations, or even like an ultimatum that you might have given this person, if they were hesitant to commit to you, or it was just very unclear kind of what's the future between the two of us. They have thought about this, and they are listening to their heart, and it's the essence of, I don't want to lose you. I don't want to lose what we have. I don't want to even risk things falling apart, or risk you kind of questioning my intentions. So I'm going to do something that maybe isn't typically kind of in my nature, and be more open emotionally. So this can be someone who's gearing up for a very emotional discussion, maybe even something like saying I love you for the first time, asking you to move in with them, making it a monogamous connection, or for some even, popping the question, and then you're engaged. Just whatever that kind of looks like for your circumstance, it's the sense of like, I don't want there to be any doubt within you that I absolutely want this connection between the two of us to continue to grow and develop and thrive. They also say, everything you touch turns to gold. You are pure magic. So that is that energy that you've revived this person. You've brought them back to life. You've restored their hope in love as something which can be reciprocal, can be healthy, can be high vibrational. It feels like in many ways you are very different than anyone they've been with romantically. Other partners, even kind of whoever they might have considered to be the love of their life, or kind of that ultimate love. It's almost like you've exceeded that status within this person. You've helped already to kind of heal a lot of the wounds and scars that they might have been carrying around for years, that could have led to the sense of being very closed off emotionally, not trusting fully in the nature of their own feelings, or really struggling to sort of find ways to express those feelings in a very detailed, and thorough kind of manner. That there's almost a sense here of, you help them to feel safe to open up. You help them to feel seen and appreciated for kind of the core qualities of who they are as an individual, rather than more kind of like surface level aspects of who they are, rather than a connection that sort of like feeds the ego in a certain sort of way. It's almost like you feed this person at a soul level. You've helped to kind of guide them deeply within, to kind of renew their relationship with themselves. You've healed their heart in a lot of ways, and there's the sense of almost them thinking, I'd be a fool to let you go. Anyone would be a fool to let you slip through their fingers, and so I'm not going to be the one to make that mistake. And so there's the essence here of also wanting to kind of give back to you in some sort of way that helps to kind of ease any disappointment, any kind of hesitation, anything within you where you're still hurting from previous circumstances, in love and partnership. Both of you could really be individuals that are sort of like once bitten, twice shy, and it might be two people who are kind of walking on eggshells around the idea of like, do I trust this situation? Is it safe to really kind of give this person my heart, or to trust in where things are going? And it feels like your person has really reached a place within themselves of wanting to go that extra mile to silence doubts within you, and again kind of help you to see that you're perfect as you are in their eyes, and perfect for them. And they also say, I don't want anyone else, I just want you. So another confirmation of, any kind of exes that you might have wondered, like, do they still have feelings for this person? Or are they, going to leave me if somebody from the past turns up? Do they have other options? Or are they exploring, the possibility of other connections? Maybe this is just something that's been kind of casual. There's been no kind of solid commitment made yet. And there's the sense of, all doubts, it feels like, have been erased from this individual, that there's nothing further that they need to sort of look for outside of themselves, because the way you make them feel, or the experience of being with you, being in your company, being in your presence, time shared with one another, wherever your relationship is at with one another, it's almost the sense of like, I want more of that. I want to do what I need to do in order to prove that very exclusively I only have eyes for you. You're all I see. You're all my heart desires. There's no need to kind of look or to search because I've found everything I didn't even know that I was looking for or did need in order to feel like a wholeness within, a reinvigorated energy, the light of love, as opposed to like a heaviness or a dread associated with the idea of romantic relationships. You've really helped them to sort of turn back the hands of time in a way, and it's almost like they feel themselves capable of loving as if they've never been hurt in love before. And this feels to be almost like a very profound spiritual experience for them, something that has kind of shifted within them emotionally speaking, and it's all kind of credited to you, to the experiences with you, who you are as a person. And so definitely kind of gearing up to take things to the next level, or to even just kind of, if you're going along and everything's kind of fine, it's the status quo between the two of you, this is almost like wanting to do some kind of grand gesture, romantically speaking. That can even just be, a very sweet exchange, a conversation between the two of you, or something that they kind of, plan out and implement that lets you know just how special you are to them. They also say, I hope that you're okay. So again, wanting to really calm any sort of doubts within you that, if they haven't been very open about their intentions, their long-term plans, there's a sense of wanting to let you know that they're in this for the long term. They want to do what it takes to continue to protect and nourish the connection, to make you feel very seen and appreciated for who you are, for, the measure of joy that you have added to their life, the sense of that you've revived this person's hope and faith and trust in the power of love, not as something that one like falls in love and then there's a need to kind of pick up the pieces later on, but it's almost the sense of you've allowed this person to kind of discover their own wings through the experiences with you. And this is somebody who's now rising in love. They are feeling better within themselves. It's a more positive outlook on life in general, and it's something what they're very consciously able to sort of associate back to the experience with you, and the experience, kind of knowing you, of having you in that kind of emotional space in their life, or within their heart. They also say, I really do miss you. So this is kind of, again, if there's something where, maybe busyness in both your lives has kind of created almost like a distance or a disconnect, or, things have kind of plateaued between the two of you. They're wanting to kind of revive the spark between the two of you, or to invest in some way that lets you know that you matter a lot more than they've let on up to this point in time. That they miss you, that they're lonely for you, if they are, other kind of things are keeping them at a distance, or vice versa, kind of things in your life may not allow you to have much time to spend with one another, not much quality time. Or the nature of what that looks like could be very different than what it was before. There's a sense of almost wanting to capture and hold and kind of continue to build from this sense of innocence, of loving like it's for the first time, doing what it takes to kind of continue to revisit or return to that place within your connection, because you have shown that place to that person within themselves. So there's a sense of not wanting to let the connection turn into something stale, not wanting to allow any kind of doubts within you to overtake or to overwhelm the sweetness that they enjoy about you, that they experience with you, that you've really helped to show them or to mirror to them exists within them as well. They also say, you've been in my dreams lately. So this is bringing a message that you're a dream come true. You are the person that they have prayed for, that they have, tried to manifest into their life for quite some time. There's a sense even of kind of a deeper, almost like a soulmate or spiritual sort of level to this connection that they're starting to really come to terms with, surrender to, accept within themselves, that maybe even energetically you feel familiar to them long before they met you. They might have dreamed of you before they met you, or you hold and possess all those kind of qualities and characteristics of a person, and more importantly, the qualities and characteristics you bring out from within this individual helps them to sort of look at their life as a scene where there's the capability to kind of reach beyond the sky. Any kind of dreams that they had, it's almost like you're that partner that can be that support system for them sort of reaching these things. They're wanting to help support you in your dreams and kind of work towards sort of that next level between the two of you, rather than seeking happiness elsewhere, feeling that that could be, found by kind of continuing to take things slowly, or just whatever kind of stage you're at in your situation. There's almost like wanting to cross that next threshold so that the dream doesn't kind of extinguish between the two of you, but it's something that is only enhanced through kind of like a new experience with one another. They also say you have the key to my heart. So they are definitely deeply in love with you. For some people, this is going to be kind of like they haven't been in love for a while, or this is the first time they've actually can honestly say that this is love, or this is true love. It feels like it's something that the experiences with you, who you are as a person, the feelings that you brought up from within, it's helping them to really reframe any kind of limitations that they had placed, or parameters that they'd placed on what love should feel like, what a healthy and reciprocal relationship should be like between two people, to where baggage of the past has been released. The idea of kind of somebody else fitting into their world or into their life, or into their energy or into their heart more appropriately than you, those thoughts cease to exist at this point in time. It's like they only have eyes for you, but in a way that is very empowering. So conversations, kind of more vulnerability, maybe something on the horizon, or for some of you, this is going to represent like, taking things to the next level in whatever way that applies for your particular situation. So let's get some initials, and these can be a first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or can spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got F, Q, Y, T, J, L, D, P, G, F, T, V, M, I, L, U, H, Z, S, D, Y, U, C, E, and O. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link to that in the description box of the video. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters, including a longer video version of this reading that involves more cards and more decks. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of those out as well. And I've launched a second channel here on YouTube, which is called Lady of the Dawn, where I do channeled message readings related to topics other than love and romance. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, I invite you to check that out, and there's a link to that channel in the description box of the video. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 3. Chose the Fire Agate. So let's see, what does your person want you to know right now from their higher self? And they say, I don't want to be rejected, so I stay silent. I feel safer not knowing the outcome. So there may be a question that they want to ask, a big conversation that they want to have, that they're almost overthinking the process of, or there's a sense of almost like, is it too soon? If it involves kind of taking the connection to the next level, this can be somebody who has not yet articulated their feelings for you, and so kind of a situationship going on in the sense of wanting to make that into something more, become more clearly defined with you in a certain sense. But then there's this essence of, is this pull towards something more mutually experienced, or am I going to put myself out there and look like a fool, and then also kind of ruin the good thing that we have going on with one another? This can also pertain to somebody you're at a distance from, somebody you're in a no contact situation who is wanting to try again to see if it's possible to kind of rebuild the situation. If they had maybe been triggered by the intensity of the energies between the two of you, or the pace at which the connection was developing or moving, maybe they caught feelings very quickly and sort of pulled back very abruptly, or kind of pushed you away. There's a sense of they've had time to really acclimate to that, process those feelings within themselves, and there's a bit of guilt and shame over how they've handled the situation. So it feels like almost the sense of, I no longer want to like ebb away from you, or continue to compound the distance between the two of us, but I want to take steps and efforts to show you that I'm genuinely kind of interested in moving towards, we're building with this again. We're on the same page. We're moving at a very measured pace towards something more in this situation. But it feels like it might even be a delicate matter to kind of explain themselves, not knowing really how to explain their motivations in the past, or if, there'd been like hurt feelings with that rejection, however it is that they handled that. There's the sense of questioning if you could ever fully trust them again, or if the damage has been done in this situation, and it's kind of a circumstance where now maybe an awkwardness that could exist between the two of you, or if it's like total silence, total no contact, not really sort of knowing what's going on behind the scenes within you, and kind of like, is there still kindness or a gentleness within your heart towards me, or have I sort of extinguish that in a sense, or have I now created like a wall, a difficulty, a challenge that exists where once there was almost like a yielding or more of an open energy between the two of you. They also say this connection scares me sometimes because it is so intense. So there's that confirmation, for those of you where this is someone who's like withdrawn, pulled back their energy. Maybe they've been coming up with a lot of excuses for being, busy, not able to see you, talk to you, hang out with you, or something's just kind of off in terms of their energy. This can definitely account for the essence of a lot going on behind the scenes with them, more than just kind of feelings. There's almost like their soul is pulled towards you, or they're feeling this connection at a soul level, which may be very much outside of what they are used to or accustomed to in terms of romantic connections, partnerships. This can also be a situation where feelings came on very quickly, and they've kind of chosen to withdraw in order to process that. But it's a sense of not wanting to remain at a distance from you, not wanting to, allow the connection to stagnate, or to miss the opportunity to build towards something more. But with that is even kind of this energy of sort of the hesitation, not wanting to get in too deep too quickly, and to, overwhelm themselves again, open up and kind of fall back into the same triggers that might have created some uncertainty, some awkwardness, or outright distance between the two of you. And then also kind of, it feels like being very mindful of the fact that if they are sort of overwhelmed by the nature of this connection, or kind of where things have been at recently, or they're at right now, there's a sense of, it's not outside of the realm of possibility that you might be having kind of similar reservations. You might be just dealing with it better, hiding it better, kind of, putting on that brave face and sort of going with the flow of the situation. And so they're taking you into account as well. Kind of like, if this is overwhelming for me, certainly on some level, it must be overwhelming for you as well. So there's consideration here. It's not just all sort of self-focused and self-directed. There's a sense of inclusivity in terms of planning their next move towards you. They also say, I'm in a better headspace now. So again, any kind of energetic cooling down in this situation, outright distance that has been created between the two of you. This may have even been someone that told you they needed a break, they needed time to think, things were moving too quickly, or they may have just, again, kind of directed their attentions elsewhere as sort of an excuse or a ruse to sort of not be very open or clear about kind of the nature of some fear that was coming up, intense feelings, an intense kind of spiritual experience or spiritual components to this that may be very outside of the box for what they're used to dealing with. And rather than kind of admitting that they were in over their head, or that there was a lot of confusion about sort of what was going on, what the nature of that kind of is or was, it feels like they've kind of just chosen on some level to kind of tuck back into themselves, and now they're kind of wanting to emerge. They've come out of some period of a fear-based paradigm, and there's the essence of wanting to kind of reach for more of the light in this situation, gradually, slowly, but progressively kind of building, as opposed to continuing to kind of retract from you. They also say, I hope to take the weight off of your shoulders one day. So this can definitely speak to a heart-to-heart discussion, an apology that might be owed, deeper feelings that are confessed, or feelings that they know they need to speak on for the first time. But with the idea of like one day wanting to have this be applied in a total sense, there is kind of a mindfulness within, not wanting to kind of overwhelm you or touch on any trigger points that might have already kind of been inflamed based on sort of their conduct recently, or how they've handled the situation, or again, kind of, as much as they might be overwhelmed by the nature of the connection, it's demonstrating a degree of emotional maturity in that they're putting themselves in your shoes as well. If they feel that this is big energy, this is intense, this is, potentially the makings of like a very profound romantic connection between the two of you, or like a very profound soulmate connection, very spiritually based kind of energies. It's a sense of them almost demonstrating leadership qualities in this situation, and not wanting to kind of bombard you or pull your vibration down due to uncertainty within themselves. And so it's almost the sense of like being mindful that they need to kind of approach with confidence in order to help you to kind of confidently move beyond whatever you might not even be expressing to them, as far as a nature of the intensity being a bit overwhelming about the situation, or uncertainty within you of sort of, how sustainable is this? Is this person in this situation for the long haul, or is it something where the momentum will continue to build and they'll run again, or they'll kind of change their mind, they'll decide that it's not for them. So they might even, this may be a very strong kind of empathic connection between the two of you. Could be a lot of telepathy going on, where it's almost like your fears are very apparent to them in a way, because they mirror and match kind of the fears that they have within themselves. And rather than kind of remaining positioned in the place of like, I'm afraid I'm going to be at a distance, it's almost like, I'm afraid, but I'm going to take steps to kind of move through that fear in a way that's comfortable for me, but also kind of with the best interest of the two of us in mind at this point. They also say, everything you touch turns to gold. You are pure magic. So that is the confirmation that they do consider that this connection is worth fighting for. It's worth salvaging. It's worth investing in. It's worth kind of doing what they need to do in order to navigate beyond the intensity, the overwhelm, any kind of like fears or triggers, maybe even the sense of like very beautiful feelings that they have for you. But there's a sense of, a wound from the past, like good things don't last, or certainly something that feels this right, this aligned, there's got to be a catch. There's got to be an expiration date to that. It couldn't possibly be sort of everything I've been seeking here at this point in my life right now, and kind of whatever might be just sort of easy or flows really well between the two of you presently, or at different periods in the past. It's almost like they haven't trusted fully in the sustainability of that. So they're not wanting to kind of run away from it. There's kind of a guardedness as far as, I don't want to overstep boundaries, move too quickly, and sort of destroy kind of the tender stage that we're at with one another. But I also don't want to move so slowly that kind of the magic moment sort of fades, and the connection itself then sort of unravels due to inaction. They also say, I don't want to take you for granted or misuse you. So there's that confirmation that they're being very mindful of your feelings, whether these are things you've articulated to them already, or they're just able to kind of glean that. They're able to sort of anticipate if they've got fears and hesitations, certainly you do as well, rather than busying themselves and overthinking about kind of what the nature of those things might be, or overcomplicating the situation by really pressing that issue, or testing, or kind of feeling into sort of what are the raw nerves within you as far as this situation, or love and romance. There's almost the idea of they're just kind of taking it at the assumptive value of, certainly overwhelm on their part equates some degree of overwhelm on your part, but somebody has to be the one to kind of face that and rise above in order to kind of hoist the connection beyond wherever you're at currently, or to sort of ensure more of its long-term survival potential. And so there's the sense of them really feeling, or activating, or very naturally, very organically stepping into kind of that leadership role within this situation, by virtue of the fact of kind of what's been stirred within. It's overwhelming and yet a very empowering energy. They also say, I've been lying to myself about my feelings. Why? Maybe because I was scared. So there's that confirmation of the intensity, the bit of the overwhelm that may have caused them to go silent, or to, kind of disconnect for a certain period, or at various points in time in this situation. They've been looking very deeply within, kind of, they may have shut you out to some degree, but they haven't shut these feelings out. It feels like something that they're not even able to. Now that these kind of feelings have come online, there's no appropriate or effective way to kind of shut that off again. And so they're in kind of an observer mode, sort of mapping that out. What is the nature of these fears within me? How do I honor that part of myself, but then also create movement so that we don't let this good thing that we have between the two of us kind of fizzle out and fade? They also say, I can't lie. I am missing you and thinking of you so much these days. So there is a longing for a closeness that you once shared before kind of a bit of the overwhelm or the intensity sort of caused them to back off, or maybe even kind of, their heart telling them to continue to move forward, or to rush forward towards you. And like their logical mind almost playing gatekeeper and saying, wait a minute now, stop and think about this, or don't move too quickly, kind of the essence of sort of bringing them back down in a grounded sense, with the understanding of like a more of a proper foundation needs to be laid, or leaning upon kind of the foundation that you have between the two of you, navigating through this time of intensity, or even some foundation within, times where they may have been very impulsive or reckless in terms of who they gave their heart to, or ignoring a kind of an essence of, I think things are moving too quickly, and yet not kind of honoring that within themselves might have led to, circumstances in their past kind of capsizing anyway, because they weren't sort of acclimated to the nature of what was building, what was happening. And so there's a sense of they've course corrected in that capacity in this situation with you. They value the situation with you, and therefore are trying to kind of almost handle the situation very delicately, so that it ensures kind of long-term potential and success. They also say, why are you so beautiful? So this is, again, that energy of, this is a very empowering connection for them. It's brought out kind of a leadership quality within them very organically. This is the essence of, I want to do what is necessary to protect this connection, to ensure that it kind of this transitional period between us or within themselves or kind of in whatever the next manifestation is between the two of you, that it's almost like that is preserved, that is nurtured, it's nourished in a way that sort of leads into longevity as opposed to just kind of immediate gratification, immediate results. So you may notice this person kind of moving back towards you, or almost maintaining kind of like a stoicism that doesn't feel to be kind of the product or like the byproduct of necessarily a full kind of, I don't trust this situation, I don't trust what it is that I'm feeling, but it's almost the essence of what I feel is very beautiful, what we experience with one another is very beautiful, and I want to kind of blend in this sort of emotional honoring and also a very practical kind of necessity to take the situation day by day, to kind of honor the ebbs and flows emotionally within sort of self, and kind of navigate a spiritual component or an intense kind of emotional component, so that we are headed in kind of more of a prosperous direction. Might be kind of a slow and steady progress, but it's nevertheless kind of feels like somebody who's very intent on sort of taking things to the next level, or at least sort of holding space kind of with you as the two of you sort of acclimate to this situation, or start to kind of process the nature of what you're experiencing with one another, what you have experienced in the past, and kind of using that to inform what you'd like to experience going forward. So let's get some initials. This can be a first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or can spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got L, J, E, H, R, I, B, T, T, G, R, O, H, Y, B, I, G, V, M, C, P, Q, O, W, and A. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link to that in the description box of the video. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters, including a longer video version of this reading that involves more cards and more decks. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of those out as well. And I've launched a second channel here on YouTube, which is called Lady of the Dawn, where I do channeled message readings related to topics other than love and romance. So if that sounds interesting to you, I invite you to check that out, and there's a link to that channel in the description box of the video. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.